G'day everybody, thanks for stopping by. Look, it's New Year's and I've had two epiphanies. One, I need to stop sitting down so low and looking up towards the camera because it makes me look fatter than I am. But the realisation there is it actually makes you look as fat as you are. So one, I need to lose weight for New Year's. I've been packing it on a little bit. Two, my hello everybody, or yeah, g'day everybody, thanks for stopping by. It sounds like Nick from The Simpsons.
Hi everybody!
I knew it reminded me of somebody, but anyway, let's get on with it. Today's video is going to be having a look at some solar panels that were sent out to me for the purpose of review. So I didn't pay for these. I wanted to show them to you, but I don't have time to do the review and do the testing today. I just don't. It's New Year's Eve again, and I've got people coming over, and I need to tidy up, and I need to go and put some pants on. I'm baffled, ALLPowers. You really have surprised me. I don't want to say I expected them to be rubbish, but I expected them to be rubbish. Look, I thought they were going to be usable, and I thought I was still going to put them in the Pajero. You know, I thought from a quality perspective they weren't going to last real long, and I was going to have to resort back to my other panels and stuff like that. I'm just wary, and I'm looking for the problem. I just am. Real good. They're just real good. Again, testing to come later on, but I can't wait to get these hooked up to a solar controller and have some time up my sleeve to do some testing. ALLPowers got in contact with me and said, look, we've got some solar panels, we've seen your video on the Bluetti, which you've all seen there, and look, this is going to be starting to appear in a few more videos coming up, because look, I think it's a really good system. And realistically, I just haven't got out to go camping. There's so many things that I want to use this for. Use it for my telescope setup, because it'll power my laptop and it'll power the telescope itself. I want to use it for an amateur radio contest when I take the radio out, and I want to use it to power the amateur radio, my HF rig. So if there's an HF contest that's coming up, I want to use it for that. I want to take it camping and I want to run some LED lights and just light up the whole campsite just for shits and giggles. And there's a whole bunch of other things that I want to use it for. And I just really haven't had the chance. I want to use it just to sit by the campfire and take a little fridge and sit that down there so Tim doesn't have to go up and get his beers. I'm going to surprise him with that one if he hasn't already watched this video. But one of the benefits of these are that they have an inbuilt solar charger, inbuilt MPPT solar charger. I'll put the specs up there. There are some limitations. I think they'll take up to about 500 watts. Might be up to about 30 volts, might even be 50 volts, something like that. But anyway, it's around about 500 watts you can pump into these and charge these up. So this is a perfect, I guess, all-in-one camp solution, if that's what you want, if you're not looking to run anything too powerful. It's got a 1000 watt inverter in it, and it'll do a 9 amp output on the 12 volt side, and that's regulated as well. So you'll get a steady, you know, I think it's 13.8, 13.4, something like that. It's 100 odd amp hour battery in it, lithium, of course. ALLPowers has reached out to me and said, oh, we saw your Bluetti video, noticed you've done some other solar stuff. We do solar panels, etc., and some other things. They do some battery systems similar to the Bluetti, and we'd like to send you out some solar panels that you know, might work with your systems. You beaut. Okay, great. Because if you follow the channel, you might remember that I've got a 350 watt solar panel on top of the car, and it's running the lithium setup that I've got in. I'm going to put an additional solar charger into the car. The 350 watt, which puts around about 20 something odd amps on a good day, will run through the new solar charger and go direct to the battery. So where I'm running it through the Energive at the moment, it's either solar or DC chargers, you know, coming from the alternator. What I want to do is put the other controller in, have that solar panel running 24/7, regardless of whether the car's running or not. And then when the car's running, I'll get that additional 40 to 50 odd amps coming in. So we're going to be seeing around about the 60 and a bit amps in full sun whilst the car's running. So we've got about 300 amp hours worth of lithium battery over the back, DIY setup, video there. And I just want to put as much power into it as possible. It's great having all that power there, but if you can't charge it up, then it's really not any use to you. Then what I'm going to do is run an external Anderson plug going into the Energive, so I can input some different solar panels into that. Now, it's not going to matter whether it's the same voltage as a house panel that's on the roof, whether I use those 200 watt 24 volt panels that I've done the review on, again up there if you want to have a look at those, or whether I use a folding blanket or a 12-volt panel or whatever. That's where these ALLPower solar panels are going to come in handy. They're going to probably sit up in that K-on rack or somewhere in the car as a permanent fixture, and then when I pull up at camp, I've got 400 watts. I've got two 200-watt panels here. I've got another 400 watts that'll give me 750 watts going into that car, pumping into that battery when I pulled up. Also, if you follow the channel, you might know that I've been playing around with air fryers in the back of the Pajero, running off that system, and it's going to be pulling around about 200 to 215 amps when it's running, when it's cycling. Very, very efficient, and I recommend you go and have a look at that video if you're interested in an air fryer in the back of the car. I've been very impressed thus far. And if I can just be pumping this straight back in, or have a minimal take from the battery and the majority of it be taken from the solar panels, then we're well in front. So again, ALLPowers solar panel, and it's ALLPowers with an S on the end. They only reached out to me, it wouldn't even be 2 weeks ago, it'd be just about a week, and it is Christmas. Like tonight's, it's New Year's Eve at the moment, so these have just turned up super quick, so they must have come from Australian warehouse. There's no way in that time frame that these have come from China over this holiday period. So they must have a warehouse in Australia somewhere, so that's good to know. Model is APSP033BLA, whatever that means. Trademark ALLPowers, Guangzhou, China. It does say made in China, so no pretending it's coming from anywhere else. But just coming in a single box, and they are going to be nice and thin. I'm actually looking forward to these. Now, I did have a look at some reviews. I did go and do some research, and I quite often will do that before I'll say yes to somebody that's trying to send something out to me. In particular when it's Chinese stuff, because look, realistically, I don't want to be spending my time doing reviews on products that are just crap. I just don't like it, because it takes time. You go out, and I like to go and do my testing so I can tell you how they perform and all that sort of stuff. And I've had a number of products where I've gone and done the testing and I've spent time on it, and then I get to the end of the thing and I go, you know what, this is just rubbish. I'm not doing it, and basically I lose the weekend because I've shot a video and then I need to go and do something else. So either way, I've lost all that time. And sometimes I don't have the time to go then and make up another video to put up for the weekend. So, okay, let's have a look. Now, what I'm most interested to see with these is whether there is a solar controller in here. I don't think there is, and I'm really happy with that because we've got the one in the Bluetti, or I'm going to have the one in the Pajero. I'll show you the other solar blanket that I've got, and we'll do a comparison with these later on. But when I was doing some research on these online, the one bit of feedback that kept coming up was the stands on there, saying how flimsy they were. But initially, just out of the box, it's a real nice setup. The materials all feel good. You know, sometimes when you get stuff from China, in particular, you can have solar panels and stuff like that, and you pull it out and you just look at it and you just go, okay, it's not fantastic, but let's hope it's going to work. That is not the case here. This looks really, really nice. There's no stitching hanging off it all over the place. The material all looks good. You know, the straps are holding on. It just looks like a really nice unit. At this stage, I've got high hopes for these guys. I'll chuck this down and give you a closer look because I think you need to see this out of the box. I'm glad they've sent me 2 units because that is going to let me have a really good look at these and see whether there's any differences, you know what I mean? Like, we're talking quality control and having a couple of units up your sleeve rather than just the one. You don't know whether they've picked one specifically to send out to you for review. But at this stage, this is, at this stage, this is Mickey Mouse. Like, all the labelling and everything on it looks really, really good. There is a little bit of stitching coming off there, but that's getting nitpicky. Okay, we'll have a look at these, but these look like the tabs that you can put a peg in it or something to peg it down. They don't look like they're going to last forever, but we'll see. Anyway, let's put it down. We'll give you a quick look at it, and then we'll open the other one and have a look. There's just a zipped panel on the back which has some stuff in it. Okay, there's our stands, and they actually feel like a firm plastic. Okay, not super firm. They still appear to be a bit more rigid than the one I've seen in the reviews. I think they've upped their game here. I have to go back and have another look at the reviews because they're not too bad. Like, I mean, you know, they've got flex in them, but I don't think they're too bad. And there's a strap there. So how these work is there's press studs on the back of this, So you don't need to permanently install this. So if you're going to be hanging this off the back of a car or something, throwing it on your bonnet or something along those lines, then you don't need to install those stands. So that's a good thing. So we've got some accessories. So the output straight from the panel is your MC4s. So that's nice. You've got a male and a female, which is good because for the Bluetti, there's a proprietary, well, it's not proprietary, but it's a barrel connector 5.5 mil or something like that. I think with a 2.1 internal. So I have the adapter that comes with the Bluetti that takes your MC4s and will plug straight in there. So we've got our MC4 to barrel connector. So we'll work with your jackeries and you know, providing you've got the right adapter, and you'll find that most of your little solar generators, your portable battery banks with your inverters and all that sort of stuff, similar to your Bluetti, they are going to come with your MC4 to whatever their main connector is on the front. So MC4 to barrel connector, it's a fairly small one, so I'm not sure what that's meant to fit. We'll have a look, there'll be in the instructions somewhere, some instructions, we'll have a look at those a little bit later on. I didn't see that fall out of the bag. We've got some additional barrel connectors or other different type connectors. I've got no idea what some of those are, but I reckon that one's for the Bluetti, the yellow one. You bloody beauty. That one fits your Bluetti. ALLPowers, I've got to tell you, I was hopeful for the product, but I must admit I had kind of low expectations to see what was going to turn up, and I thought maybe this was one of the cases where I was going to set these things up and it'd be a bit of a throwaway review. It was going to be a bit of a filler or something like that. If performance is anything like this out of the box experience, I'm going to be real impressed. Nice, really nice. Good thinking, ALLPowers. Amateur radio guys, you're going to like this. MC4 to 30 amp Anderson plug. I'm going to say that again. MC4 to 30, I think they're 30 amp or they're 15 amps. Anyway, we'll put that up on the screen. Anderson plugs. So for your amateur radio gear, you beauty. That's gold right there. Well done, ALLPowers. Look, and I know that is not everywhere. I mean, you know, they're common as chips. You can buy those as easy as you can buy your normal 50 amp Anderson power poles. But those little ones, amateur radio guys use those everywhere. And I've got a heap of them, and that's awesome. That's really, really good. I'm really happy with that. And we've got our standard battery clips, which is interesting. If you were to use those, the MC4 to your alligator clips, it's going to be coming straight from the panel, which means there's going to be no controller in it. There's going to be no voltage regulation or anything like that. So you need to keep that in mind. This is just this panel here. It's a nice large one. Look, I'm seeing all positives here at this stage. Often simple little things with your China stuff that really lets them down. The press studs look nice. They don't look like they're going to come out anytime soon. Fingers crossed. And we don't know. We'll have to check this out. The zip on this pouch is nice. It's like a nice zip. Again, doesn't feel cheap. The material in the pouch, the front of this pouch is padded. The fact that they've got these metal grommets here for where the cable comes out of the panel. I mean, it's just little things like that that show attention to detail and is going to help it last. So that, you know, that's going to stop that material ripping and stuff, having these in and out. The fact that you've got a, you know, it's only, what is it? Maybe 2 foot connector on your MC4s. That's nice. You've got a decent sized cable. The fact that this pouch is big enough, you know, to put all of your stuff back in it, to be able to zip that back up just like that and not have to be yanking on those zips and force and everything. That's really nice. You know, the handle is really good. I'm going to give you a look at the front too. Nice little clips. Again, now I know I haven't even so much as opened these, but right now it's all positives. Okay, so nice hot day, great for testing solar panels, horrible for standing out in the sun. So let's unfold it and just have a look, and we'll set it up. Even the dog's bailed out of me for some shade. I like this option. I like that they're not fixed. I can put them on if I want. Well, okay, we might as well find out whether they're dog proof, because it's going to happen. Get off. Okay, so they stand up to tighten. Simple little things, like all these joints look good, all the panels look good. I'm not seeing any defects. At this stage, pre-testing, having the dog walk over it, but just purely from an out of the box perspective, these are looking really, really good. So for 250 bucks Australian, I think that's what they market them as. We'll put that up on the screen. If I spent that on these, I'd be really happy. Again, compare these to the kick-ass stuff that we did a comparison with Steve, and also just the eBay ones that Glenn had. I think he paid about 110 bucks or something and come with a solar. It might have been 200 bucks for those. Anyway, there's a link to the solar panels of Glenn's that he got off eBay. They look like they're denim on the outside. Just purely from just feeling the panels, I would say the quality of these at this stage, without testing, justifies that cost. These easily feel like they're twice the price of those ones that Glenn had. Glenn was happy with those. The output was great. I'm not sure whether that's continued. I'll have to shoot him an email and find out. These feel closer to the kick-ass quality than they did those cheap ones of Glenn's. And I've got to tell you, I was fully expecting to unbox these and have them feel exactly the same quality as those ones that Glenn had. These are definitely an improvement over that. Anyway, let's go and stand them up and see what they look like. Yeah. I mean, they just feel thicker. Okay, that's interesting. Another nice little touch, and this is the sorts of things we're talking about. Your press studs. You got one at top and one at bottom. So you could, if you wanted to, attach these permanently and just leave them connected. One end of this has the tab that'll connect, I guess, to the top. It'll give us the ability to adjust this. And then obviously we've got the other press stud down the bottom, so if we want to leave these on, we can do that. So anyway, let's just see how these press studs go, eh? Okay. So it's 12:15 lunchtime, so realistically that sun is almost straight up. But we have found our first hurdle, and people that were talking about those stands being their weak point, I'm going to agree with them. I thought they'd made an improvement there, and they're still reasonably stiff. They're just not great. Let's have a look. They're still a little bit flimsy. Oh look, they're not too bad. It's this part here realistically is fine. It's this connection point here. It's not rigid to the panel, which is good because you can take it off. It allows too much movement between that and the panel. I'll see if I can find out what they weigh, and I'll put that up on the screen there. It'll be up there with all the specs, because these are on the heavier side. If you want to run a 24 volt system, I've got two of these. I can connect these in series and throw them into that Victron and be good to go from there, which is probably what I'll do. I don't know whether you can tell, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I really am. Okay, there's just something I've spotted, just playing around with it, and it's not an issue with the panels, but this, I guess, comes down to a design thing, possibly. I'm opening up these panels, and it's not a fault, not by any means, but I'm opening up these panels, and you can see where these press studs, where they've been folded together, and you can see where the press studs are pushing into the back of the panels. So you definitely, whilst the dog walked on these while they were on the grass, you definitely wouldn't be wanting to walk on them like this, because you're going to be pressing those studs into the back of the next panel, and I don't think that'd do you any favours. There's no China smell to it. There's no, and when I say China smell, you know when you buy some stuff, especially when it involves plastics and things like that from China, and out of the box they just reek. They just, you can smell that the materials are cheap because they're just putting out an odour, and there's no discernible smell or odour or anything to these. So that's the old 40 watter from Aldi, so that's not a bad little unit. And then I've also got this one, which I believe is a 250 watt panel, and I've got to tell you, weight wise, considerable difference in this. And this is actually just some leads that I've made up myself to make it a bit more convenient. This one's different to those ones in that the panels are smaller, so you've got more panels, but they are smaller. And this one unfortunately doesn't stand up because of that configuration. So that's our 200 watters at the back, 250 there at the front. So they're similar sort of size. This one here at the front, the 250 watt, is just a generic one. I picked that up off Facebook second hand, and yet to be tested actually. So sorry, that's a lie. I had tested it just on a battery just in the backyard, but it really needs to be, you know, put through its paces. So ultimately what we've got there is about, well, 800 odd watts worth of foldable solar, but we'll get stuck into those ones from ALLPowers at the back and we'll do a review. At this stage the panels feel excellent, all the materials feel really good. The accessories was a real nice surprise. Having the Anderson plug, the small Anderson plugs for my amateur radio stuff, that's going to be really, really good. Those stands on the back, not great. The little tags that you use on the corners, I guess to tie them up, they're not the strongest. The solar panels themselves, I guess the front, I can't see any defects with the connections or anything like that. But that's it for now. That's the ALLPowers 200 watt folding solar panel. And at this stage, colour me impressed, and I'm really hoping that these hold up to my expectations, which I didn't have at the start of the review. Just to say, I didn't have expectations at the start of the review, or I had low expectations at the start of the review. These have changed my mind to a point, and we'll see how they go. Alright guys, thanks very much for stopping by. Happy New Year. Thanks everybody for the Merry Christmases. It is New Year's Eve. By the time this goes up, it will be the New Year, so Happy New Year. Welcome to the New Year. Let's hope this one is a better one than the last one. Thanks very much for stopping by. As always, I appreciate your views, I appreciate your subscriptions, and of course I really appreciate your comments. It's nice to hear from people, and it's nice to hear from some guys from overseas as well. So I really appreciate it. If you are posting from overseas, let me know where you're from, because I enjoy that. Anyway, and of course, you know, the Aussie blokes, I appreciate you guys as well, and the ladies of course. Thanks very much for stopping by. Happy bloody New Year guys. I'll see you on the next one.